Let's go ahead now and check in with CBSN producer Caitlin Fish in Columbus Circle near Central Park. Caitlin, I see a snowman behind you. It looks like a very beautiful winter wonderland.
How great is that? He's about as tall as I am. Can you see him okay?
I can, yeah. Got the little spiky hair even.
Yeah, so somebody did a really good job on that one. We've seen a lot of people taking the time to build snowmen out here today. The snow definitely isn't letting up. It's coming down just as hard as it was earlier. I'm going to walk backwards a little bit and see if I can catch some of these other guys. We've got some smaller ones over here. Still plenty of people out here. But you can see people are still having a good time and still enjoying this even as the sun is setting. And we've got same amount of snow, same amount of wind. It definitely isn't letting up out here. If anything, it's coming down a little harder than it was earlier. And just as many people out. I'm really surprised that there hasn't been a drop in people. There's definitely a crowd out here that is still having a good time.
Well, it is surprising because as we've seen, you have your hood on, people are bundled up. It's cold out there.
It's very chilly. It's about 28 degrees at this point. I'm looking at a gauge right now, and the snow is still really light. Some people earlier were throwing snowballs right at the statue at Columbus Circle and were complaining that the snow was too fluffy and not heavy enough to throw a proper snowball.
First world problems.
I said, wow, what a thing to complain about. The snow is not heavy enough for you. But yeah, it's pretty chilly. And when the wind picks up as it is right now, I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah. It definitely feels colder than it is.
Well, and I think that's going to be the concern over the next several hours as the sun's going down. That wind is so cold, the temperatures are going to drop, and people do need to at some point head home, cleanups starting, that kind of thing, once the snow tapers off.
Yeah, I would think people need to get out of here as soon as the light goes away. They've got street lights on here in the park. I'm just inside Central Park at this point, if you can still see me. But I would think people should be heading out here soon. There's still plenty of people out here, though. It seems like more are leaving than coming in, though.
Can we have you do something quick? Can you wipe the up? You got it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I know it's very tough out there. As you said, the snow is still falling pretty heavily. In some locations, we're hearing 2 to 3 inches per hour. I think what's surprising.
I believe that. I definitely believe that here. It hasn't let up any bit from earlier. It's definitely still coming down just as heavy as it was before, and people are making the most of it.
I think what's a little surprising is earlier today, we had talked a lot about that around that 1 p.m. Eastern time was going to be kind of the heaviest part of this storm. But it seems like as this snowstorm is kind of almost, the bands have come back around, we're getting even more snow than we originally had anticipated.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely coming down just as hard, if not harder, than it was earlier. There are some really heavy wind gusts out here. And when that picks up, it really picks up a lot of the snow that has already fallen and throws that into the air along with what's actually coming down, which makes a big difference in the conditions just walking around. It makes it a lot harder to see, a lot harder to move, and it's definitely slippery out here. I've seen some falls recently.
Oh, well, we are waiting for a press conference from Mayor Bill de Blasio. I'm sure he's going to talk about maybe what people can be doing as we move forward into the night. I know you're up by Columbus Circle. Earlier, I had asked you if the businesses were still open because there's a lot of stores and things. Has that changed at all?
So there have been a few that have closed, but it seems like some are still open. A lot of the actual stores in the Columbus Circle Mall were closing. But again, I saw another woman with Whole Foods bags just a few minutes ago, and I assume she just bought them from the store that's actually in the Columbus Circle Mall. But a lot of the local mom and pop shops have closed, and some of the smaller retailers have closed. I'm still seeing some coffee shops and things like that are open. I popped into a restaurant to see how people were handling the storm, and it was open. It's just a locally owned place, and people were just riding it out, watching sports, having a drink, and enjoying some company.
I suppose if you got nothing else to do, why not go to the bar if it's open?
Yeah, if you don't want to hunker down by yourself, you might as well go find some friends.
Right. So I have to ask you too. There's usually a lot of traffic up in the Columbus Circle area. We know that travel ban went into effect almost 3 hours now. Are you seeing any more cars, or are people kind of saying, okay, we're listening, we're going home?
So there's a lot fewer cars than there were earlier. I'm basically only seeing emergency vehicles, a couple of news trucks, and a lot of plows. A lot of salt trucks. That's basically all we're seeing at this point. I've seen a couple of big black SUVs. I can only assume those are some pretty important people trying to get around. I wouldn't think that they are car services at this point, but you never know. Very rarely do you see something like that. It's mainly just emergency vehicles, police cars, and snow plows.
I see somebody cross-country skiing behind you, it looks like.
Yep, so there's another skier. I saw a guy with an actual snowboard earlier. I wasn't sure what hill he was going to go down with a full-size snowboard, but we've seen a ton of sleds, a ton of snowmen being built, if you can see some behind me. And like you said, just that guy with the skis, no shortage of them out here.
It seems like people are really kind of taking this in and trying to document it on their social media pages and things like that.
Oh gosh, yeah. I saw a guy in a pair of tennis shoes a few minutes ago going for a run with a GoPro strapped to his forehead. I can't believe that he can be comfortable wearing as thin a layers as he was with just some tennis shoes on and a GoPro, but he was going out there, and I guess he's trying to find the best video he can at this point. Oh. It's a little chilly for me to be doing something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be running at this point.
I think he was wearing just tennis shoes, no snow boots, no nothing. I can't even imagine how cold his feet are.
Well, and you said you saw some people wipe out, and I think as we continue through the night and those temperatures drop, we get the winds kind of whipping up there. It is a concern for people's safety, both, you know, as we've been talking about, of course, on the roadway with that travel ban, but even just walking around, you got to be careful.
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful, especially if your sidewalks aren't salted or are not plowed. There's plenty of sidewalks even around here in heavily populated areas that have not been salted and have not been plowed. Ooh, you can really hear the wind picking up by me now. Sorry if my visibility goes away. But there have been some in front of some residences that have been salted and taken care of by doormen, but not many. And there's at least a couple inches on the areas that have been plowed by snow plows, at least the sidewalks, that is. A lot of people are walking in the streets, which isn't the safest thing to do because the plows are trying to get through and trying to make it safer for cars to get through. So if you're trying to be as safe as you can be, I would recommend just stomping through the foot of snow on the sidewalks.
Really good idea. Caitlin, thanks so much for your reporting. We appreciate it out there. It does sound windy and cold, so go warm up somewhere.
I will. I'll get there soon. Thanks, Jamie.
Bye.